Welcome to Busy Bee Woodworking. Today, we're going to finally take advantage of that extra tall ceiling of ours and get some of this lumber moved from around the floor plan and the space as well, and move it above our heads so we can really open up some much needed space in the shop. Above me, you can see we have the three level shelf lumber rack from Grizzly. We're going to show you how we mounted it to the wall, but also how it's assembled and put together properly. So stay tuned, and if this is a project you want to tackle in the future, you'll be able to do it by the end of this video. All right, before you get started assembling it all together like I did, I actually came across a simpler way to actually line it up with the wall and where the holes are going to go. Before you assemble, one of my buddies shared with me that he takes these black back brace brackets before he attaches these and lays out his wall and where the holes are drilled and then attaches these. That way this can line up right up against the wall and it gives you a little bit better of a clearance rather than this gap and you're trying to juggle it around. So quick little tip before you dive into it, maybe lay out the ceiling and do that, and now we can jump into making them.
So you want to make sure that you locate the bottom of this bracket bar, and you'll notice the screw hole is closer to the base than the top. Now that you've located that, you're going to want to take a drill and pre-drill into the plastic cap. Lastly, there is a little notch for the screw on the base of the bracket bars, so make sure that those are faced downward when sliding the bars down. Alright, first of all, we're going to go ahead and take our stud finder out, mark all the studs as we go across the wall here, and also notate if you come across any AC or power sources all, because you do not want to be hitting any electrical cords. That would be a no-no. Now that we have our studs marked out, I went ahead and went with a 4 width in between each of these supports. And I just took my level, made sure they were nice and straight, drew a line down there so I knew exactly where I wanted to drill in. Then I took measurements from the other rack that I just put up, from the base plate above the garage there as that to mark. So if I ever got, I don't know, an extremely long board, it would run smoothly across all the way. But really I'm making these for no more than 8 footers. So, but just make sure that that line's nice and even and level. Now that we got our layout lines put here, we can bring in the actual bracket and put the screw in. I found it easier to go on the base just because I had a better view of it overall. And then partially taken in. Don't go all the way in because now we want to slip in that top screw with that back plate needs to slide behind that spacer that allows the shelf unit to sit properly. So once you slide that in, you can screw that in, but you want to make sure that this is nice and level. Now I had that guideline there and I did double check though just to make sure everything was going the way I wanted it to. Alright, now that we got that first one put up there, we want to come over and bring in our other one. And again, this I went with a 4 foot width in between the two. But this one, this is the second part, and it's very important that this one is aligned properly to the first bracket that you put up. That being said, make sure you go with the new measurement wherever that first bracket landed, whether it's where you originally designed or a new measurement. So I just use my levels. I have the 4 foot one on the bottom there, and that essentially is what is going to determine the height and the starting point for the first one. But I also want to make sure that I'm running everything nice and level here. So just take your time on this one. Don't rush it. Once you, though, have it all nice and lined up, I just use a screw to put through the hole and give a nice little indentation and a good spot where my screw can really start and I can get a good accurate drill into the stud. I will say at this point, having a second set of hands would have been convenient, but unfortunately a lot in my shop. I'm usually a one-man crew here, so I made do with what I had.
All right, Busy Bee World. We got 2 of them up. I actually have 2 more sets of these 3 shelf lumber racks. And I was going to plan on putting one up top there and one up top there. Give me a little bit more lumber rack space. Each one of these shelves is rated for 100 pounds. I don't know if I really want to push it. As you can see, that Purple Heart up there, I got 4 boards up there right now. And you know that material is a little heavier, so that'll probably be enough of it up there. But let me know in the comments what you guys think about using lumber rack storage up high and off your floor space. I've always had it down at a really easy level to access, so I'm wondering if I'm going to like this in the long run or if I'm going to end up modifying it and dropping it a little bit lower. But I'm thinking the space I gain from putting the lumber up there will outweigh the inconvenience of having to go get out the ladder and pull the material whenever I need it. So I think it'll also keep it away from getting banged up and dinged as I'm moving material around. But it was just a much needed process for this shop. As our company grows and as projects grow, floor space is becoming more and more essential, and I want to keep it in the shop. I should have plenty of space. I should have enough to grow into. But I will also be removing the 5 shelf rack from the mobile, and I will be mounting it probably above those cabinets for just the shorts. And then I'm going to be modifying the lumber rack, mobile lumber rack cart to be a little bit more useful. So comment below what you also, if you want me to film that and show you what I made for my scraps, cutoffs, and my sheet goods. And again, comment below as well on what you guys use for your lumber rack and how you keep your shop organized when it comes to material. All right. Well, that being said, as always, thanks for buzzing by into the shop. And until the next time, go make some dust.
Really?